Hello everybody, apologies for the poor audio again. I did actually try and get a microphone for the computer, however it doesn't seem to work, and I'm back on using this old poor phone. So, today we're going to be starting our series, I don't know how many videos they'll run to, in web design and building a website. What we're hopefully going to cover today is what is a website, how to start building one, and we're going to start building an example website for a Mr. Bill who has a company making whatsamajigs, and part of these whatsamajigs are thingamabobs and what's it called. So, firstly, what is a website? Well, a website's a collection of files, HTML files normally, and pictures and whatever, stored on a server that we browse into using a URL. So we browse in, the server sends all this data to us, we download it, stick it in a cache, view the website, and then maybe later on it gets deleted from the cache, something like that. So just start with an example website. We'll view this website. This is a website of a company I previously worked for. Looks rather nice. Today we're going to be dealing with the kind of text part of the website. We're not going to be dealing with the layout and the kind of these block color stuff, formatting and stuff like that. We're just going to be doing the basic text, basic kind of thing. We'll cover the rest in a later date. So we've downloaded this website into our cache, and well, we want to know what actually it's built up of. So on any website, what we can do is right-click somewhere that's not a hyperlink or something like that, and we can go View Page Source. Now my internet's slow, so I've already done this. So this is the source code for the page, and we're going to be typing something like this today. So it looks horrible. There's a lot of stuff in it. This is obviously a published website on the internet, so I think it was done by a professional company, and there's a lot to it. But the thing is, what you'll find is this kind of stuff just builds up as you add content. It looks massively dramatic at the start, it looks very confusing, but it really is quite simple when broken down into its individual constituent parts. As I said, we're not going to be doing the web kind of like layout, these color schemes, stuff like that, because that's actually contained in a different file. So if we look here, what we've got here in line 21 is a link to a style sheet. Now these style sheets define the way these things are laid out, and I've opened both of these, and these are kind of the style sheets. So these define what color it is, what size, what width, that kind of thing. Borders, whether it's viewed on mobile, blah, 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 blah. We'll come to that later. So when starting learning HTML5 and stuff like that, and why HTML5? Well, firstly, why HTML5? I chose HTML5 because it's the kind of new and upcoming web standard. I think it'll be implemented over the next couple of years fully, and a lot of web browsers have support for it. I mean a colossal amount. Pretty much all of them, apart from the ones I know of, are the old Internet Explorers. As you can see here, they've had to include some stuff so the old Internet Explorer can view it, but hey, we're not going to be worrying about that. People on old Internet Explorers should really upgrade, make life easier for everybody. Anyway, so in kind of learning the HTML5 and where to start, I initially went to the W3 schools, which is kind of, it covers it all. This is the W3 and W3C, the World Wide Web Conference or something like that, and they're actually the people making the standard. But to be honest, if you're just starting very new kind of thing, don't really know what's going on, don't know some of the terminology maybe, I'd started this one, this HTML5 tutorial. It's done in plain English. I mean, it's written as simple as possible. It's very easy to understand and follow. And what he's actually got here, quite nicely, is the essential, essentially the build-up of the website. So this doc type thing tells the browser that it's HTML5. This is the beginning, opening of the HTML thing, and then there's the head and the body. Now, if we go back to our example, we've got our head here, and our head carries on really long way down the sheet. It includes all this. We'll just quickly find the body there. So, whoop, that's the end of the body, that's the start of the body. So our head is something like 217 lines long. Now essentially the head tells the browser what to do, it tells the web spiders what to do, that kind of thing. Now if you don't know what a web spider is, we'll come into that later. The body of the text is what's actually displayed on the website, what we can view as human readers. So we've got our text here, our formatting for the text, stuff like that. We'll go into all this later. So yeah, we've kind of got all this. Now for the web spiders and for that kind of thing, basically what we're thinking of is search engine optimization. Essentially there's two people who view a website. The first, most obvious, is the human reader. So you want your website laid out nicely for humans to see. However, almost everybody goes to websites nowadays using a search engine, something like that, Google for as a prime example. And so what Google does is it'll actually read all these websites programmatically, index them and arrange them in some kind of listing, which they don't tell anyone how they do, which is fair enough. So we kind of need to optimize our website for both humans and the web spiders. So we'll be doing that. What we want is a website that appears high in search results and also is very human viewable, very, very pleasing to the eye to read, very well designed. As I said, I won't go into design in this lesson, but just kind of, we'll get the text down, we'll get the basics down. So we've got our two tutorials. I'd advise using them if you get stuck, but hopefully you shouldn't. If you just follow what I do, it'll give you the basics. So where do we start? Now, we don't need anything like a compiler or something like that for this HTML text. We don't need any special software. We can actually type it in Notepad. So we can begin typing all this in Notepad if we wanted. However, I'm not going to do that because Notepad doesn't really have formatting, stuff like that. I would say don't use a word processor because that'll insert its own formatting. I would actually advise using Notepad++, which is what I'm going to be using today. Notepad++ is a very versatile piece of software. It's really, really useful for software and kind of viewing language. We've got loads of different encoding settings, macros. We can even, I think, run some types of software from here, stuff like that. It keeps everything nice and it'll highlight things, make it very easy to kind of read initially. So we will begin making our website. So to keep everything together, we're going to start a new file. As we're making this website for Bill, we're going to call it Bill's website. Doesn't matter what we call it, and that's where we're going to save everything out. So we'll begin our website with a declaration. Now, these things come in this kind of form. I think they're either called tags. I don't know, a declaration seems quite reasonable to me. I think tags is the commonly used term, so I'll go for tags. So firstly, we need to tell the web browser what we're doing, like what this language this is written in and stuff like that. And for that we have this exclamation mark doctype. Now, why it's that, I have no idea. You can research that yourself if you're interested. I'm not too bothered. I'm just going to teach the basics. So our doctype is HTML because that's what we're going to be coding in. Now, I'd advise when starting any kind of one like this, we'll just keep everything kind of clear, obvious for us as humans typing this. So what we're going to do is just go for our head. So this opens the head, and we're going to put our body down here. Now the thing is, this will open the head, but it needs to be closed, and there's this / head thing to close it. Now this is kind of funny, I find it kind of a bit tricksy, is Some things require closing, some don't, some have different ways of closing, some don't. So we're just, I'm not going to try and explain why. I have no idea why they've done it this way. So we've got our head and we've got our body. And we're going to close off the body. Now, what you did notice is in this example kind of brief thing on the side here, he's got this HTML thing, and that's just to kind of include all this and tell it it's HTML. I should really set this to HTML. HTML gives us nice formatting, we can close this. This is why I use Notepad++. So we're going to have our HTML, but we want our web spiders to kind of know what language our website is. So I don't know, I've just noticed it now, it comes down the bottom. Oh yeah. So we're going to tell them our language of our website is equal to EN for English. So now we've started our HTML tag, we'll go down at the bottom and close it. We don't need to tell it it's English on closing, so we'll just close that off. So now we can collapse that down, so all these are contained, and that's the thing. So if I put something within here, it will be contained within the head, and we'll come to that when we start dividing our web page up for adding kind of extra information and stuff like that. So we've got our kind of header, we've got our kind of body, so we can kind of literally start our website now just by saying hello world, maybe, world please. We'll save that up, so we'll save as a HTML because I've set the language to HTML. We're going to call this the index because, well, that's a home page. I think it's most commonly called the index. So where was our Bill's file, Bill's website? So we'll just save that straight out into Bill's website. Now, that should be enough. That should be enough for us to begin our website and we can view it. We've got Hello World. Hello World is just a basic software thing of saying it's working. So there we go. That's essentially the simplest website in the world. We've got Hello World. Now, obviously that's not a website and that's not going to be very good and nobody's really going to enjoy that. So we've kind of got to include a couple of extra bits of information in this head kind of thing. What I'm going to do first is just add a couple of tabs. Tabs don't affect the formatting or the way anything reads it, but it makes it easier for my eyes, makes it easier for your eyes, and looks quite nice. So in our head, what we're going to include is some metadata. Now, metadata is just kind of abstract data that kind of describes the file we're talking about. So in our case, this is the abstract data that will describe our index.html. Sometimes you see them as .htms. I think maybe that originates from back in the old days when you could only have 3 things. I'm not sure. It doesn't actually matter in the slightest. I've never seen it matter. I've never seen it make an effect. I could just save this as a HTML and it would work exactly the same way. So don't worry about that. If you're viewing a web page source or something and it's a HTML file, not a HTML, doesn't matter. Okay, so what we're going to do is talk about the encoding for our character set. So metadata has this nice meta title, and we're going to have our character set. See, this is another reason why I love Notepad++, because it's telling us, it's just giving us the answers here. I mean, like if I'm thinking of doing something, I go, oh yeah, well, maybe an article, oh, we've got all this, I can add audio, it's just playing about. Anyway, so we'll take our character set as UTF-8, which is standard character encoding. If you want to know about that, just Wikipedia UTF-8. You can find this actually just, I mean, the way I got most of my metadata from is taking it from other people's websites. Admittedly, that could be called theft, but it's one bit line of text. Like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, for example, something like this, I don't have a clue what it does, I'm not going to take it, but describing the character set seems quite reasonable. I've typed it differently. I don't know if it matters. It's never caused a problem for me. That's actually worth checking right now. I'll put a hyphen in there. No? Doesn't like it? Maybe? I don't know. We'll actually just check this website. So we'll view the page source. What has he got? UTF-8. So it doesn't really matter about the capitalization apparently. And it's always good to just use reference websites. If you're confused about something, you don't know what to put in, just use reference. As I said, you can get any website, view the source of pretty much any website. Some websites are built on Flash, so you won't be able to view that source, I don't think. But anyway, so first off, we need like the first non-meta data kind of thing will be our title. So we'll start that title, and where is it? We're just going to close that off. We could space out and put the title below, but I'm just going to type it on a single line for kind of space and ease. So our title is going to be, and now this is the first thing that comes into kind of search engine optimization. What do I call your website? Now it would have seemed quite normal to be called Bill's website, something like that. It's not really the way it's done. It's not really the kind of conventional thing. The title of the website is, I think, like, I'm not an expert on search engine optimization, but this is just what I've seen from loads of examples and stuff like this. The title of the website seems to be a very important thing in the kind of web spider prioritization and like what it will prioritize. So we're going to have our product first. So Bill makes Whatsmajigs. So we're going to have Whatsmajigs. So we've got some Whatsmajigs, and these are going to be made by Bill. So by manufactured by Bill. We'll give him a capital. Manufactured by Bill. Now we'll close that title off using our / title and that method of closing. Now if you look at the meta, it's closed off in a different way. Now, I don't know why. I don't have a clue why. You just have to kind of learn that some things are closed off in some ways. These kind of, I don't know, more encompassing tags generally tend to be closed off like that. So it's kind of a best bet to try that. If it doesn't work, try a different way, or just view an example. Our next piece of meta, or metadata, will be our description. So we'll name our metadata as description, because it's kind of a non-standard maybe, I don't know. But the description is, whether my internet will work, say we'll Google trees. There we go, that's the description. Now Google will build this for you if you don't include a description yourself. Google will just form this from the website, and I think quite a few people doing it. See, for example, here we've got Alba Tree Nursery, and they've got this. And now what we should see when we view this, we should see that that is part of the website description. So if we right-click, as we always do, and go View Page Source, and now we've got, can I just find it? Yeah. Hedging Nursery, through the UK. Was that what we saw? I don't think it was, actually. What was it? Welcome to over 10 million quality trees through the UK. So it's actually, that is just directly displayed in the kind of Google subtext thing. The title is what's displayed at the top. Now, if we go back to that website, and can I view the full title? There. So what they've got is, they've got their name, they've got what they do. So that's what we've got in our title. We've got Whatsmajigs, manufactured by Bill. So in our description, we'll have, we'll call it description first. So this is our description, and our content of that description is going to be I don't know, find collection of what's-a-majigs of high quality, because Bill takes a lot of pride in his, I wouldn't, exclamation mark looks quite unprofessional, so Bill takes a lot of pride in his what's-a-majigs, so he makes them to a high quality. Another thing we're going to include in our meta, I don't know why, just kind of because I like signing things, author. So we're going to actually name that. Name equals author. If I could spell it, A-U-T-H-O-R. Ah, I didn't have a H, that's why it looked horrible. Jesus. Sorry. Alright then. Silly. So our content will be equal to, so the author's me currently. I would put my name in there, whatever, if I'm the web design company, or whoever, whatever, or your name if this is your website. So that's pretty much it. Now, what I'm going to do is include something that we will use on a later video. Now, how do I comment things out? I'm not entirely sure how we comment things out. I haven't commented something out. I'm not entirely sure whether alright, I just won't include it. Is that it? Open brackets, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. We'll just check his. View page source. Do we have open brackets, exclamation mark, buy, sell, add code. So that is how we comment. So that is the identifier for a comment, I believe. Seems that way. So we're going to open bracket, what was it again? Exclamation mark, hyphen, hyphen. Exclamation mark, hyphen, hyphen. Yeah, so that's the commented out kind of thing. And we're going to put in a line of extra things, which we'll use later, which is our link. So actually this is really hard to see, so I'll comment it out at the end. So this is our link. Now, what we want to do is later on include a style sheet to this website. So we're going to use this link command to link to our style sheet. So this rel thing is style sheet. Don't know what rel is, don't really care, not important. Our type of style sheet will be of the text type, and it will be a CSS. I think that's correct, yes. And our HTML reference, so href. So our HTML reference will just be, now with the HTML reference, that will reference obviously this HTML kind of, if we had something here, blah-de-da-de-da, we would copy the full URL, so on and so forth. But because on the server our thing's stored here, and we're going to include our style sheet here, so if I just, for example, make style, and that would be our style sheet, that would be our thing. So it's actually in the same directory, in the same area, so we don't need to give a full path to it, we only need to kind of reference it. So what we're going to do is just reference style.css. Now, I know that was a text document, so yeah, I'll actually be making a style sheet. We might as well delete that one, it doesn't matter, we're going to comment this out anyway. This is just for future reference, we're going to link to this style sheet. Now, this link is a primary example of something that just does my head in with HTML5. It's really awkward. This is closed by, not like this. You close it like that. I'm not sure why they've decided to do that. I have no idea. It seems rather arbitrary and rather confusing. So we'll just comment that bit out. I can't really read that currently because of the color scheme I've got on this thing. It looks better when I'm off the highlight. So, fundamentally that. is our website. All the kind of metadata, all that kind of thing you need in the background. Now, what you will frequently see is this, a meta, and then name, keywords, and then the content, traditionally, in almost every example I find, just tends to be a load and load of, just rubbish. It seems to be like somebody will say, yeah, what's magic? And then I've seen people do this, and they, whoops, not do that, we'll go at the end. And I've seen people literally do this. And they go, what's magic, what's magic, what's magic? In some kind of weird thing that they'll get higher on the search engine rankings. Now, the thing I'll say about keywords is, from my understanding, they went out of date years ago because people were abusing them. The thing is, what Google wants, they want, like, interesting, relevant content. And now that's the two things, interesting and relevant. If the content's rubbish, not many people will link to it, probably won't be that good, possibly drop down the rankings. As I said, I'm not sure how they do their rankings. But if it's like not relevant and you're having all these keywords in and stuff like that, it means they lose their kind of edge on giving you relevant information. So this keyword thing, to my understanding, is gone out of date and it is not used anymore because people are trying to abuse the web spiders. Now, the thing is, Google, they employ a ridiculous amount of people. They've had, like, I think I've seen one for a job at Google. You had to solve some ridiculous mathematics coding problem and stuff like that. They put it on a billboard, and people who solved it emailed him, and then they got an interviews and stuff like that. There's no way in hell I'm going to beat Google's web spider. I'm not clever enough as an individual. I'm not clever enough as a company. It's just not going to happen. They've spent years designing these web spiders to give people interesting, relevant content. Now, if you think that a keyword thing will give your website the higher rankings, it won't. What will is interesting, relevant content, and we'll get into how to display that later. Or, actually, right now, because we've just moved to the body section. So, the body section. Now, what we're going to do is break up our body, because what we could do is, now, where's my filler text? I'll just get some from the internet. So, I'll fill it. We want lorem. Let me try and remember it. Some Latin, lorem ipsum. Now, this is just generic filler text. What is like that doesn't help me. I just want some generic filler text. So there we go. Loads of, it's Latin, it doesn't mean anything. I don't want to be reading words, I just want to kind of see the layout. So we can just chuck that in there, get rid of that, and we'll check out this website again. So we're checking out our website, having a look, and it's just, I don't know, it's all one block. And we don't want that. We want to break it up. We want a header. We want footer saying when this website was made. We want maybe a nav bar down the side or something like that. We don't want just block text, and that's what we're getting at the moment. As you can tell, our title is now What's Majigs Manufactured by Bill. What's Majigs being the most important thing that people are going to be Googling search for. Google for anyway. I'll get rid of that. So yeah, we've got all this Latin filler text, and it looks horrible in that format. So we're going to break it up, and how we're going to break it up is in two ways. Now the old way is to use a div, and the way I think about that is dividing the page. So we've got our open div, our closed div, and that will break up the page. We can have like different blocks. We can use a P for a paragraph. So say for example I wanted to, we'll just get rid of that div for now. So our body is essentially a different type of div for dividing it up. So say we wanted to split this into two paragraphs. What we're going to do is add the paragraph tag, and we'll just say our, where are we? Home, please. we'll just put in our paragraph here, and we'll close off the paragraph tag. Now, whoops, not capital. I'm not sure if capitalization affects it, but I just keep everything lowercase because everybody else seems to. So, we just want to open our index again. Now we've got a paragraph. So that's how tags break up text. Now what I could do is make all this tag bold, and then make all this tag italics, or something like that. And that is how you break up a website into pieces, and then affect the kind of way those pieces are viewed. So, for example, this will be in a tag, and I think if we can find it, here's our paragraphs. Here's our header tags, which we'll go into later. So, all broken up nicely in paragraphs. They've got a couple of divs in there for things that aren't like, you know, body, head, obvious things, standard things. Now, what we have, or what we want to do is we want a header. Now, HTML5 has header, has these headers, also has this header. Now, this header will be at the top of the page, I think, always by standard. Yeah, I think it will, unless we specify otherwise in a style sheet. So, our header, and I think the search, like web spiders, know what a header is. They know that the header is quite important. It's what's at the top. It's what people generally view first. So I think it'll prioritize this. So our header of our website is, I don't know, welcome to Bill's what's-my-jigs. I wish I chose a shorter word now. Probably misspell it a couple of times. Who cares? So that's our header. Welcome to Bill's what's-my-jigs. As I said, we'll worry about formatting later. We'll save that one up. Just quick, take a quick check. Welcome to Bill's what's-my-jigs is at the top. So that's how we break up our website into kind of different areas. So at the moment, Bill's what's-my-jigs, he's got these descriptions here, which we're going to call these the description of the first what's-my-jig and the description of the second what's-my-jig. The first one being the thingamabob, and the second one being a what's it called. What I'm calling them at the moment is just completely doesn't matter. Alright, so we're going to break this up. What we're going to do is we are going to add a header. So we're going to use our h1 tag, because we're getting a heading. I'm going to have this on one line just for kind of neatness. Should really tab that one in an extra way just for kind of completeness. So our header will be quality what's-my-jigs. Yeah, that's good enough. So quality what's-my-jigs is our most, and the thing is, H1 is the most important header. H1 is like, it'll come up on Google, that will be the web spiders will identify that and go, yeah, this is very important, this is in a heading, so when we save this out, if you think about the human reader, this will come in the form of a heading. So quality what's-my-jigs, it's very big, very bold, very important, very good. This one seems quite small, but I can change what it looks like later. I can, you know, muck about, make that even bigger if I wanted to compete on the size. I can also change the size of these, so I can have headings this size with the importance of a heading, and so on and so forth. Now, as we go down, we've got these different heading tags. So we've got the H2 tag, which is a subheading, which is less important than a H1 tag. Now, if you judge your things in terms of importance, what you think is very important for the human or for the viewer to see, generally the web spiders will identify that you think that thing's very important and that it is very important. So our quality what's-my-jigs, well, we're going to have a unique, I don't know why I'm including words like unique and quality. I'm just thinking it's a bit more businessy to try and sell what we're selling. Thingamabob, the G in there, thingamabob, lovely. So that's our H2, and now we've got that filler text in there. As you can see, the formatting's kind of lost because I copied that straight in, unfortunately. So we've got our quality unique thingamabobs. Now here we're going to have our H2 again, because we can use them multiple times. This is our second subheading, which is unique thingamabobs. We're going to call them, I don't know, bespoke, if I can spell, bespoke, and we're going to call it, what's it called, like that. So our bespoke what's it called is the second most important thing, and, yep, we save that one up. Just periodically get into the habit of saving and viewing, Whoa, what's happened there? Because I didn't close these off. So if you don't close things off, it just assumes that runs to the end. It's quite a good example of, doing things wrong. Why we check often without closing them off. It looks wrong, and you don't want to upload a website looking like that with everything in bold because it looks silly. So there we go. We're building it up. You can see we're getting there. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, just in principle, is include, or not in principle, just for kind of later on, include these things in a div tag. We'll close that div tag because we're not stupid and we made that mistake before. And we're going to do the same again. We're going to get a div tag there, and we're going to stick one here, just closing that div off. Now, why have I done that? Because later on, when I come to build my style sheet, I'm going to reference this text, and I'm going to add font or whatever. I'm going to stick it in a box. I'm going to make this div a box. I can do this in the HTML. You can put in style information in the HTML. I think it's better practice to kind of segregate it. So this is very easy to read. The other one's very easy to read as well. We kind of keep it all together. So that's my basic website. I'm not happy with that because this isn't a basic website. Basic websites don't consist of text. I mean, that's not a basic website, that's a book. We've got more functionality we can add. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a nav bar maybe. So we've got our body, our header. Now we can add the nav bar above the header, below the header. I'm not sure whether it will actually make a difference. So what we're going to do is just add a nav, and we're going to close that off with a nav, spell correctly, and we're going to just put in some random text in there for the moment, save that up, and see where it comes out, because I'm not actually sure. To my understanding, the nav comes below the header, it comes above the header. So apparently the header doesn't always go to the top of the page, it's just a different way of describing this div. It's just exactly like a div tab. There's no special thing about the div, the header. But what we did notice is that the order in which we put things in this file is important. So I'm going to cut that out there, and I actually want my navigation bar to work below the header. We'll put that in. So that looks nice, or will do whenever we look at it. So I'm not going to save it up because we know that's just going to appear beneath there. But in our nav bar, what we want is links. We want to use this amazing functionality of the internet and put a link. So we use the A tag. And now, from my understanding, the A stands for anchor, which seems quite weird. It seems very weird because, well, anchor, we're making a link. I'm not sure. So maybe it's anchoring that link into your website. I don't know how they thought about that. Funny. So A tag for link, and so we're going to give it a href because we're going to need that. Where was it? Up here we used, where was the other href? Did I use one? Really? Nope. Not that I can see. So the href is HTML reference or something like that. That's what I say it is in my head. And this is literally just a container for a URL or something like that. So what we're going to do is, for our navigation currently, we don't have any other web pages. What we'd be doing is putting our page 2 kind of .html, that kind of thing if we had multiple pages. But at the moment, just to prove that this works and show you that it works, we're going to go https, and we're going to go :/www.google, just because it's a good generic check, because I don't think the Google website's ever been down. I've never known it to be down, and it'll just be a good test. Now, this kind of oh yeah, we did use the href. See the href in the style sheet? You can link it in that exactly the same way as that, only with a .html file. It'll link to it. This is using a link tag because it's not actually a hyperlink. It's just a normal link. So we're going to close that off. Now again, we don't have the / kind of thing in this a tag. Seems to be the a and the link don't have this end thing. So we're going to call our hyperlink, and we're going to say, we're going to call it a link to Google, just because we can, and we'll close that off with this bracket A thing. So what it seems to be is that is completely different to that. Sorry about my earlier like kind of reference. Is that is the opening tag has the reference in, and then the text is in between the tags, and then the closing tag says this is the end of the text. So if I've done this correctly, as I said, I'm not too sure about these things. Maybe I'll put them in the wrong place. We'll try that. And we've got a link to Google. And does it work? It seems to be working. It does work. So we have now got our first link. Now this will form our menu bar, our nav bar down the bottom here. Our page 1 is obviously talking about what we do. So a link to Google. And that will be actually a link to page 2, page 3, page 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., etc. But that's not all we can do. I mean, there's loads we can do, and I'm not going to go into it all. Not at all, because, well, it's going to be a long video if I did that, and, yeah, I'll leave you to find it out. So we're going to add a picture to our web page. Now, I got these from Googling a free commercial license image, so NASA give these away free, so I can include them in my business website if I so choose, because they're free commercial license, whatever. We're going to stick it in here because What's My Jig and What's My Jig's thingamabobs actually work in space shuttles, we've decided. So our unique thingamabob is so unique, it only exists on this space shuttle. So in this division, we're going to include another division, and you can do this. So this division will have a subdivision. We're going to use another div tag. We're going to go down, and close off that div tab, just so we don't forget. So in doing this, it means I can come back later and apply like a style, a border around the picture or something like that. I can affect the way it's embedded within this div tag. And now that's the thing, you can embed divs in divs in divs in divs. You can embed things in things in things in things. If you look, everything is embedded in this HTML. Everything's embedded in this body. This header, that's embedded. And you can just kind of stack things up, and that's what I mean. It starts to look very complicated. And we get this kind of thing when we've got, look, divs and divs and divs, H1, that's included in this div, included in that div, so that is getting affected by this, and this class helps us reference them in the CSS. We'll reference it by class, and then we come here. So we've got this class black strip. In that class we've got this black strip text box, and in that we've got this header. So that's the kind of way things build up. I haven't really done that for my headers and stuff like that because this is just a demonstration. So what we're going to do is include an image. We're going to use img command for image, and we use this src. No idea what that means. Doesn't really matter. I've just seen everybody else use it and copied it from theirs. And we're going to, yeah, alright, we don't want this just floating about. We want to keep all our images nicely together. This is kind of an example of stacking thing, so we'll call it images, and we're going to stick our NASA free image in there. So we've got this free image in our images folder, and that'll all be on the server. So we need to reference it. So we're going to reference it because it's in our top level directory in a folder. So we're going to reference that folder first and then the picture. So what we do, we first images, and then /, and then what was it called? I think free image NASA, free NASA image, NASA free image. All right, would have got there eventually. NASA free image. All right, you need to put the file format. Windows does this thing of deleting or hiding our file format. We can see it's a JPEG. If you're ever confused about what file format it is, just right click, go properties, you can see .jpeg there. So if I include .jpg, it will link to that, and that will be our image. Now what we also need to do is to provide an alternative. Now this is if you can't view the image, if the image is broken, if we've lost it, and what I found is I think it does require an alternative. We'll just try it without one first. So now we'll put in the whole image and then we'll try breaking it. So we're going to have this alternative thing, we're going to have an alternative, and this is a thingamabob on a spaceship. So this is Bob's thingamabob being built into NASA's spaceship, which of course it obviously hasn't done. Now we need to specify the width, if I can spell that one correctly as well, width, and we will specify it as the correct width, which I have written down on a notepad, but you can just find by, well, I think it's quite obvious nowadays, they just down the bottom there, dimensions, width. So 650, and our height is 398. We'll have a go at breaking this one afterwards, just for fun, just because we can. Image doesn't get closed off either. Funny enough, I think it's because it's all included within one tag, and I think that's what it is. I'm just gonna, like, meta tags are just awkward. They're different to everything, but I think that's just includes all in the one tag. Happy days. So hopefully when we open this website we should get this beautiful image. There we go. So our thingamabob's on this rocket thing. Looks more like a missile from here, but some jet plane, well, rocket plane. So there. And now what we're going to do is show what happens if we break it. So we're going to reference a folder that's not there. So our image browser won't be able to find that image, and we'll see what this alt text for. So whoops, we're going to go in this one. Alt text. Oh no, it doesn't display, but it says a thingamabob on a spaceship. I think web spiders also read this alt text. I'm just going to try taking out the alt text to see if it works, and then we'll break this thing, and then we'll leave it at that. So we're going to do our comments out. We'll just comment out the middle of that. I'm pretty sure this is acceptable and fine. So there we go, it shouldn't read that. We'll try that. Let's see if it works without the alt text. Yes, but it spits out that at the end. Not sure why it's done that. Maybe it's because of that. Try that. Or maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's from the commenting. I don't know why it's all highlighted in white at the end there. It shouldn't be. It should be looking like that. So actually we'll just cut that. We'll just cut that to see what happens if we do it without that. Put a space in there. And we'll check that one. We'll close that down first so we don't get distracted. Oh, so it still works without the alt text. From my understanding, that was a requirement. I would always include it, just in case something happens with your image, it doesn't load. Also, what happens if we change this? I'm not entirely sure, I haven't really mucked about with it, but I'll do it now just because it's nice and quick. Kill you. Go up. Go back. Go you. squashes the image, so we can scale our image there. Cool. Anyway, so I hope you have a basic understanding now of how to build a website. This is a nice example one, very, very simple. We'll bring it back up again just as we conclude. So, very, very simple example. What we have is included the hyperlinks. We've looked basically at formatting, a little bit of search engine optimization in terms of headings, not using keywords. That just doesn't seem to be relevant anymore. We've kind of spaced it out. We've added paragraphs. Well, we haven't, not anymore, but we'll just add a paragraph there, and we'll just go to the end and close off that paragraph. Whoop, there we go. Save that up. So we'll add a paragraph just so we can see everything we've kind of covered today in one web page. So we'll reload that. So we've got our paragraph, we've got our unique thingamabob, subheadings, we've got everything, we've got pictures. So basically this is how you make a website, or how you start making a website. What we're going to cover next time is formatting, making it look pretty, you know, nice boxes, kind of colours, making the text different colours, stuff like that. We're gonna start making it look a bit more professional, a little more authentic, a little cooler. So I hope that's been very useful to you. I hope it's possibly cleared up any questions you had about all this bump that comes through. And I hope you've actually just enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon for the CSS kind of part of this video. So